Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kratitam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Vritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandatami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshini Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pulla Ravindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamayah Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Geetamritaduhe Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyah Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. So we are almost on the second last section of the 9th chapter, which deals with the jnana and vijnanam, which is really the knowledge and the realization of the absolute truth. So we have discussed quite a bit so far, but let's come directly to our reflection time. And I know we've been talking about really high level things before, but today I want to ask you, what do you think are our worries and stresses today? I know we're all at a different stage of our lives. The worries and stresses that we are going through may be different than what our children are going through, what maybe in the case of some of us whose grandchildren may be older, what they are going through. So it may be very different. But what do you think is our worries and stresses? I know Geeta is thinking our life is so peaceful. There is really nothing to worry me or stress me today, except if my flights are going to take off for my trips. I don't know.
Thanks. I was seriously thinking what I should say.
Each one of us have our own.
Because you said about grandkids, it's their problem. It's not my problem. I leave it to them. It's their worry.
Are you really, really sure? Are you really
I
so
don't know.
detached?
Out of sight, out of mind.
When everything is going well, we might say that, right? What do you
I'm sure
think?
others have something to share. I'm sure.
Hari Om, this is like the first sentence that each one being in different stages of life have different things that are bothering them. So I don't know if we can, put them, and we can just say them as worries and stress, but I don't think we can bring it into a one generalized compartment saying that this is what is, which is going to be same for everyone, except the word, the worries and stress, and causing health issues. It's other than that, I don't think we can actually bring. I think that is what I think is like, everyone is at a different stage of life. So there'll be different things bothering each one of us. So I think that is what I think about it.
Uh-huh.
So
And
ultimately, the future. Oh, sorry, Suvarna. Yeah, no. Yeah.
I mean,
I
there
would
are
say
some
only the
things, yeah, some things in a very general sense is common for everybody, right? Like you said, health, then health, roof on a head, which of course, when we say roof, it's just symbolic. Really, is my roof leaking? That's what I mean. Is my roof, 15 years, is it over for my roof? Is it time to change it? That can be a worry and stress. So anything connected with housing, right? And then connected with food. Am I eating too much of this junk food? Am I, I mean, these are simple things, but yet they do cause a little bit of a worry. I mean, is my weight increasing? Who knows, right? So, because of all this food. But Madhuri, you had some more specific things to say.
No, I was just saying always the future. We worry about future, what's going to happen.
Right, right. That is very true. Very true.
Very
Because
true. Very true.
so the future, but even if you take the future, what is it about the future that is worrying us?
Is it near future or long future, later future, or 1 week from today future, or whatever? There are so many futures.
Mm-hmm. So the point, though, is that I don't think we can deny that we do not have worries or stresses. Otherwise, we will be living in a bubble. Yes, some things are going well. There is, of course, I don't have any mosquitoes. I don't have all the things that maybe that I'm going through here. You don't have any of that. That is true. But there may be some other things. What about the deer which shows up in my backyard, which is eating my plants? Or, they are small things, we may say, but I mean, pretty soon you're out of your winter season, of course. But the point is, the reason why I'm again bringing this up is really the need for spirituality in our lives. Everybody has worries and stresses. Our youngsters has even more so worries and stresses, which they feel that they can do it on their own. They can really solve it on their own. But especially for them, this shloka that we did last time very elaborately is very, very important. And in this regard, we talked about, so that's why I put this picture of really, if you think our backs are bent right now, of course, it's because of sitting too much in front of the computer and seeing the screen and looking down and looking at my phone. That is one reason. But there is psychologically, we have this big load of things. And it may be not a bad idea for us to actually write down really what are all the things that is stressing me today. The reason I say this is after I explain why this Vahami Aham and not Dadami Hum, I'll, um, I'll explain to you how so many of this, just like, we outsource things out, we have an opportunity to completely outsource all this to somebody who will take care of it absolutely free of cost, you know? So that is why this shloka is so very important that we discussed last time. So I think 2 classes ago, we discussed a story about this one wonderful, a great Brahmin scholar, okay? So this great Brahmin scholar was, going through he was writing commentaries on Mahabharata, And when he was doing the commentary on Mahabharata, when he came to Bhagavad Gita, and when he came to this particular shloka, which is Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate, the shloka, Ye Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate, Tesham Nitya Yuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Vahamyaham, which is Vahami Aham. When he came to this, he said, the meaning, of course, we did last time. It says clearly, it says that Krishna is saying, just leave everything to me. I will carry it. Okay, I will, Bahami, I will carry the whole thing. So this scholar thought about it, and he said, how can it be that he's after all the Lord of the universe? Doesn't he have much better things to do than carry my burden? So he just scratched it and he put dadami aham. Okay, dadami means I give you yoga and kshema. Okay, so this verse here, it says yoga and kshema, I will carry it for you. And that's what Krishna is saying, right? But he said, I will give you yoga and kshema. Okay, so he says, Lord Krishna cannot do this. He's just too busy with things. He's too big. Bhagwan, how can Bhagwan do all this? So he writes that, and then he goes to take his bath. And in the meantime, but his family is very poor. I mean, those days, people who were in that profession, right? I mean, scholars, they never ever thought about their own family or food or whatever. Somebody will come give money, and then that's how they used to live. So this family was very poor. He did not have any this food or anything at home. So then, while he either went for his bath or went out or something, um, one young boy comes in and carrying a big load of rations and vegetables and everything and gives it to the wife, and she just accepts, and she asks him, how did you, who sent you? He said, no, your husband only sent me. This is all the food for it. So she's very happy and everything. But then while going back, when after he's given this, she notices a big scratch on his back, a big scratch and like red in red. And she asks him, but what happened to you? How did this happen? She said, he says, well, your husband did this to me, you know. So when the husband came back and she tells him excitedly, what, there was a young boy, you sent this young boy with the food and everything. And I accepted it, but he told me that you scratched his back. And then immediately the scholar realized that he had scratched that thing and, had put Dadami instead of Bahami. So Krishna wants to say that, it's not that I give you, but I will carry you the burden. I will carry the burden for you. So I meant when I said that I am carrying the burden. And this is just so powerful, I think, this word carrying, it's literally gives you that complete solace, complete confidence in God, saying that He is there to carry all my worries and stresses. So this is why I thought, we should make a list of everything that is bothering me and is worrying me. And am I really giving everything to the Lord? What is it that I'm carrying upon myself? Just make a list of that and do it. Any thoughts or any questions?
Hari Om, this picture, this was something that the whole week I was pondering about it, that what all we carry and we think that, it's, but sadly enough, I'm still carrying it. I have this whole thing going on that I'm so great, I can carry everything, but I'm not being able to carry and not being able to give it to the Lord. But this picture and everything that you said about this from the last class, that has been going around in my head, that I have to give it to the Lord. That is something that stuck in my head, but did not succeed in doing that. Just ended up. But this is something for reflection. This is something that it was a takeaway for me.
Yes, it is just so beautiful because any point in time when I'm worried about what's going to happen, I just say, Krishna, you take care of it. You take care of it, and he will just take it out of our hands and say, that is the whole point about what he's trying to say here. Ananyas chintayantu mam ye jana paryupasa, those who worship me alone. And here, this word me is also very, very important. It is not a partial thing. It's like, okay, Krishna, when I'm not able to handle it, you take care of it. But small, small things, I'm okay. I'll take care of this. Let me reserve you only for the big things. So let me, it's not like that. It's like 100%. 100% I have to be able to give it to him. But again, that doesn't mean that, okay, I give everything to you now, I'm just going to go to the beach and relax. Okay. It's not that. What he's saying is, Ananyas Chinti Ye Jana Par Upasade, those who worship, to those who are self control, I take care of the requirements. So these people are people who are actually working. They are working, they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. But they're doing it with the idea that I'm only doing your seva. Okay. I'm not doing this for myself. Everything here is just you and you alone, everywhere. And everything that I do is only for you. So having that complete thought when I do that, that is, and when I do that, then he carries the burden of what is coming to me, and he just takes care of that. Now that doesn't mean that, I do my work, but Krishna, then I'm telling you, I need this $1 million. Just give me this $1 million. No, that is not again what he's saying. He knows exactly what I deserve at that moment in time. All he's saying is that I will make sure that you will get what you deserve. I'm not going to cheat you, or if you allow, so if I have some other boss, right? Now, there is always this chance that that boss may have a big super ego, whatever, may or do things for his purpose or whatever. And I may not get what I'm supposed to get. But here Krishna is saying, you know what, you do fully what your work is. I will completely ensure that you will get what you completely deserve. Okay. So Ananya, which we said last time, it is completely, there is not even a little bit that is, I'm not thinking about something else. In and through everything, I feel that I'm doing it only for you. It is that Lord in the form of the person who's cleaning my house here, cleaning my office here. It is in the person, in, of course, in my boss. It is the ground I'm treading, the food that I'm eating. Everything is nothing but him and him alone. So seeing that divinity really helps us to look at the whole world with a different set of glasses, right? So this is just,
Harvam.
explain. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, in the same lines, when we think of Prahlada and Ambarisha, they stand for examples where they they worshipped God, and then they completely,
Correct.
that whatever happened to Prahlada, like whatever his Hiranyakashipu was doing, nothing happened, and at every moment he was being saved by Vishnu. And same for Ambarisha.
Right.
Right, Durvasa Rishi gets angry, And then, but so he didn't do anything intentional, so nothing happens to Ambarisha.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's like, the undivided, or, the complete bhakti,
Correct.
they stand for the examples, and then which I think we have to learn from them.
That's right. Undivided, unconditional, right?
Yeah.
So that is the Ananyas Chintayantu Mam, completely surrendering in and through everything, every act, everything that I'm doing, I look at just pure God there. And it's pure love, actually. It's completely with pure love when I approach anything and everything I do. Then this whole thing of yoga and kshema, which we talked about last time, they're basically nothing but two technical terms. Our whole life is gone only on acquiring and acquiring whatever I don't have, I want to acquire. And whatever now that I've acquired, I want to make sure that it is maintained well. You know, just like how in US, I mean, in Michigan, we buy these houses, but once we buy it, it's not as if, even if you, I mean, I remember the first time when you buy a house, we always buy a secondhand house or something, right? And we always go with a little bit of a trepidation that we want a house which is less than 5 years old or less than 10 years, because we know that in 5 or 7 years, if the roof starts to, another 5 years after roof, and so many things you have to keep changing. So then what do? You think, okay, I'm going to buy a brand new house. I'm going to build it from the scratch. But even if you build a brand new house, you still have to maintain it, whether it is the plumber's problem or whether anything, all these things. So if we think about, again, if you make a list of all the actions we are doing, they're nothing but acquiring first and then maintaining. Now, these are the two major things, is what Krishna is saying. I will take care of you. I will come in the form of a plumber and help you. I'll come in the form of this, you know. Just don't get worried that nothing is going to happen. So we saw all this. And finally, I think we did all this. I just wanted to give that yoga and kshema, and part of it is really so beautiful. So then, the idea which he gives, Lord Krishna, is at the end of the day, think of me alone in the form of that infinite potential. I'm so big that you cannot even imagine how big I am. But then the question may arise, so does that mean that I have to absolutely know Krishna in his infinite form? Only then will I get this benefit. Is that the thing? So here he says that no, not really. Even if you pray to any of the forms of gods, the finite gods, whether it's Lord Venkateshwara, Lord Narayana, Shiva, Ganesha, even then it's okay. You will still, is in a sense, you're only praying to me, but you should have that bhava. So the right knowledge is that I'm praying to that Ishvara in his infinite nature. It's like, for example, I know that the knowledge is available for us through internet in this phone. And it doesn't matter, I may be accessing that internet. That internet is available, it's all available, but I need a particular device to connect to it. I can do it through the computer or I can do it through the phone, but what I'm trying to access at the end of the day is that infinite amount of knowledge that is available. So I need to have that kind of a bhavam when I access it. Okay. So that's why here in the shlokam in 23, he said, Ye yepyan anya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayan vitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajanta vidhi purvakam. So here he says, even those devotees of other gods endowed with faith in them, who worship them in truth, me alone. So in a sense, they are coming to me alone, but they are the method that they are using. Okay, the avidhi purvakam, he's saying. So this word is very important because in the next shloka, he'll talk about what exactly does. So vidhi means like in the Vedas, right? In the Vedas, you have a lot of do's and don'ts, you have to do it in a certain way, a particular ritual. If it is for Surya Devata, when do you do it? When compared to, and then for Shiva, you have all this. So that is all, it means vidhi. So avidhi purvakam means sometimes people may use a different method, to pray to the same God. And like I said, he will come to it exactly in the next shloka when he explains what it means here. But the point is that if I pray to, Ganesha, or I pray to Krishna, but with the idea that I'm actually accessing that infinite Lord, then my prayers are going to the same place. Okay.
What does misguided method means?
That's what we'll come to in the next.
Next time. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like, for example, well, maybe I'll just give a simple example, like, and maybe it's an Indian example, but you can also see if this works in the West, in the sense, I need a new telephone connection. Actually, no, that also I cannot use, because nowadays you have private telephone companies, right? Maybe I need a permit to build something in my house. Okay. So what do? I go to the civic center or something, like I think about Novi Civic Center, to apply for the permit. And I have complete faith, or I have this complete thing that only the person in the civic center is going to help me do it or whatever. So I take him out for lunch or something to get my work done. So that is the misguided means. Okay.
Bribing.
Bribing, exactly. Bribing. Okay, maybe I'll use an example which, again, it happens a lot in India. Like, for example, if I go to one of the largest temples in India, and I say that, okay, I'm going to, or this happens with Ganesha temples, right? I'm going to break this coconut for you now. And if okay, maybe this is a very good example. I mean, right now, there are two major things that are happening for which people use misguided means to go to the temples. Number one, exams are happening. Okay. So kids will go to the temples, or parents will go to the temples to break coconuts, thinking that if they break the coconuts, they're going to be able to access it. Second biggest thing which is happening is elections are just around the corner. Next week on, Tamil Nadu is going to have doing the voting, and the week after Kerala and all that. Where are the politicians going? First, they go to the temples or the places of worship. So these are the misguided means that we are talking about. Okay. Nothing really wrong with that, but I mean, again, depending on, because when I say nothing really wrong, what I mean by it, at the end of the day, the money goes to the temple goes bigger, and that will help some other people who are more sincere bhaktas, right? In different ways. I mean, even simple thing is children, they really want something from the father, but they know they cannot access the father, but they'll go to the mother, and the mother will then, forward the case to the father or something like that. So that's why this avidhi purvakam is a very important word that Krishna is cautioning. So you see, I mean, Bhagavad Gita, even though it is such an old text, okay, the words that have been chosen there is really applicable for so many different ages to come, because it can really, you can use the words to really explain every fallacy that can happen. So then in shloka,
Sometimes
yeah.
we write Sri Ram Jayam, I'll write 1,000 times, do this for me, or something like that. It's also bribing God. Not bribing, I'm not using the right word. It's like asking something from God. I'll do this for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of Does this mean that same word? Is that the same thing connected to what is that word? The previous
No.
sloka.
Yeah, avidhi purvakam, you mean?
Vidipurvakam.
Yeah.
No?
So what Krishna is saying is, okay, you write 1,000 times Sri Ram Jayam. Krishna will say that if you do it, if you're offering your prayer sincerely and that is what you want, and which again is coming up in the next shloka, in maybe 25th shloka actually, he will say that if that is what you want, you know what, Gita, I'll give it to you. Okay. Now, what you will think is, oh, wow, Krishna is so generous to me. He's helping me. Maybe I'll ask more of the same thing. So we keep on asking the same thing, again and again and again. So that is where we are kind of misguided. In the beginning, he says, okay, I'll give it to you. But now look at me differently. Look at me not in just the form and falling in love with just my form, but I'm even beyond that. So this is again the different steps in reaching him. First, I look at Krishna as somebody who's out there, who's like a role model who will do whatever I want. Then Krishna is saying, you can come even closer to me, you can become part of me. And then finally says, you are none other than me, So come all the way is what he's trying to say. Don't just stop in one thing and get hung up in that method, So every method of worship, like even this writing is actually a very good thing because it keeps my mind focused. Okay. But then I also have to keep at the back of my mind, really, who is that ultimate Lord? Of course, it builds a lot of feelings within me. The feeling of surrender is there, the feeling of love, all that is there. But at some point in time, my ego has to be shattered. So,
Can I ask another question?
yes.
In the beginning, we say, Lord says, surrender to me. Just leave it to me, I will take care of you. So, by writing Sri Ram Jayam, I'm saying, Lord, help me out. Okay, so Lord is helping. In that way, also, we are surrendering to God, right? In other words, but with expectation. Maybe we are doing it with expectation. Because
Correct.
I did it, do that for me. Something like that. It comes.
Correct. Correct.
There is a difference. I think there is a difference between both. Yes.
Yes, there is definitely a difference, but
Mhm.
it is, I mean, we're all, Pratak Balaha, there is one, we're all children when it comes to that point. We are immature at some point. Slowly we gain the maturity and we recognize that what I'm doing is not for the sake of getting something.
Okay. Yeah, correct.
In fact, in the shloka, the last shloka of the series, it's just, I guess I won't say it now, but when you come there, that just the thought that is explained is so beautiful, about that giving part of it. I know in this, we're talking actually about taking, I'm taking something from God, but there is somewhere along the way, the taking has to come to a form of giving. And there is one more step, which he explains I think in 28.
Okay.
Hariom.
Yeah, yeah.
Hariom. Yeah. In another chapter, Bhagavan says, Artho Jijnasu Ardhasu Jnanisu Bhartasva.
Yeah.
So like the kinds of people, 4 type of bhaktas, so who worship him. So and sometimes can be transition. They start somewhere and then they go all the way.
That's
Just
right.
remember that.
Correct. You're right. So the 4 types of devotees, some people love God only if he gives them something. That is the Artha people, right? Then the Jignasa, they go for the knowledge. Then ultimately the yogis, I think they are completely merged with him. Yeah. So here, again, this extension, of this thing where he's saying, Aham hi sarvajnanam bhokta cha prabhurevacha natumam abhijananti tatve natascha vantite. He says, people don't realize that at the end of the day, I alone am their enjoyer and the Lord. Aham bhokta cha prabhu evacha. But people do not know me in that sense. And hence they are chavanti, they fall. What does it mean by fall is basically they keep coming back to enjoying the same desires again and again and again. The same thought, even just a few shloka before we came to, what is that? Gata agatam, and even in chapter 2, we had this Nanushochanti Pandita. Oh, no, what is that? In shloka, I think 11, 2:11, I think, right? Wait one second. I have to look up now. Suddenly, my mind is blank. But then the point about it is uh, people keep coming and going all the time, mainly because, yeah, gata suna gata sumscha, in chapter 2:11. People keep coming, but this is about the living and the dead, people who have gone and people who have not yet gone. But here, in this case, here he is trying to say that we tend to keep coming back into the world, or we keep doing the same things again and again and again for the sake of something. And that is what he calls this as a fall, We are constantly experiencing the joy and the sorrow and everything. So then in 25, he explains to Gita's point, with the earlier thing, what you said about people going to the temples for certain things. So in many cases, we take things for granted. For example, if I want a certain loan or something like that, I go to I go to a loan officer, or if I want a job or an admission again, this is admission time as well. For many things, there's so many things we tend to go to higher authorities for something or the other. And we kind of sort of limit our desires in some sense. And we also limit the person to whom I'm asking something. Many times, when people say that, what, or I think there is a say, be careful what you wish for, you may just get it. When people say this thing, right? It's a very common American expression. We say, oh, but what's wrong with me not getting what I really wished for? Correct? But what Krishna is saying is, you really don't know what you can wish for. Okay? So if you come to me, I will give you much, much more than what you thought you were capable of. You might be just asking for one room house or something, but guess what? I'm going to give you a 7-bedroom house. Okay? Because that is what you deserve. Okay? So we don't know that. So that is what in this shloka, beautifully he says, Yanti deva vrata devan, pitrun yanti pitravrataha, bhutani yanti bhutejaha, yanti madhya jinopi ma. Okay? So basically, worshippers of other gods, like, again, using this example, what Gita said, if I'm writing Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram only for a particular thing, okay, he says, Yanti Deva Vrata, so worshippers they go to them, to those people. There may be some other people, Pitrun Yanti Pitravrataha. So this is about, Pitralokas. Pitralokas, people who have gone, before us, our ancestors, okay? There may be some of us who may want to visit those places which our previous generation have gone, because we feel that those people did so much of punya, they are at a much higher level. Like, for example, I mean, think about this, right? How many of you would I know artificial intelligence is really, really out there now, and Chat GPT is out there. There are so many things. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm getting a lot of, I don't know if you all are getting, but I'm getting a lot of these emails from a bank saying that be careful with your voice recognition. Somebody can call you and fool you or whatever. All this is happening now. So let me ask you, how many of you would like to go forward and or you want to be in the generation, 2 generations from now, say where your grandchildren are growing up? I mean, what do you think? Would you rather go to that generation if you have a choice? Or would you rather go to a generation which was your grandfather's generation or your great grandfather or before?
With respect to?
Anything with respect to knowledge, let's say knowledge, not with respect to wealth or whatever, because we may say, you know what, maybe my great grandfather was very poor and I don't want to really go and live go to that kind of a life, you know. So basically here the ancestors, the word pitra here refers to people who had a lot of knowledge way before, and I aspire to go to that kind of a world, you know. So that is what he's trying to say. So there may be people who may want to go for that kind of knowledge, and then what he says is them, or there may be the third kind of people, bhutani yanti bhute jaha. So here he's trying to say is people want to be in the company of those people who are doing a lot of scientific work, for example, scientific progress. You know, like for example, today, I mean, we would love to be in the company of people who are constantly discovering and making the world a better place. Okay. So it doesn't matter. What he's trying to show ultimately is whatever you want to do. So he's trying to say that whatever deities you are invoking, okay, you come to live in that kind of a world. So we all are here basically based upon whatever we wanted. Okay. So those who are invoking like the phenomenal forces, and that is what the devatas are. Devatas are basically the phenomenal forces. Devatas, you know, we have devatas for each one of our sense organs. You know, for Varuna is the devata for one organ, and then Surya, all this. So whenever I'm invoking those devatas, basically with my 5 sense organs, whatever I can get in the world, that is one way, one form of worship, or to one particular thing, gods. And then, like I said, if I'm the kind of person who really likes being in the world, all that, so I will always keep coming back to only that kind of a life, is what he's trying to say. But then he says, but my worshippers, they come to me alone. So he's trying to say that all these other people, they will keep coming back to their own life. So we are, you know, when I said we are the products of our past, we will constantly be in that same cycle. And Krishna is saying, I will give you all this, no problem at all. Wherever you want to go, whether you want to keep coming back in the same world, or whether you want to go up to Pitraloka, but you still will have to come back to this world. And then whether you want to enjoy the, you know, whatever the sense organs can give you, doesn't matter, all that. But there is one more thing which he says, you know, but you can actually get out of this whole cycle, which is there in the first 3 lines here. But if you come to me, that's it. That is your final moksha. That's your final liberation. You can just pray to me that way, you know. Any questions or any thoughts? Again, this is all part of this whole bhakti part of it, right? Yeah, Anand, you had something to say?
Harivam, yeah, is it the same? I mean, like saying "Kshine punya marchalokam" or something.
Vishanti.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, after the punya is over, they're back,
Come back.
and then the birth and death, the cycle continues.
Correct. Exactly. Very nice, Anant. I'm glad you're connecting the shlokas to the previous ones immediately. Uh,
Thanks, all from your teachings.
no, 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 no. You also you enjoy it, which is nice. So now the question is, Krishna is ultimately trying to put a case for why we should only think of him in the infinite form. Because in infinity, there is so much amount of infinite potential, right? Everything else, there is very limited potential. So he says, just ask for whatever you want. I will give you much more than whatever you think you want, because you do deserve a lot more, and you don't even know what you want. So he says, because you don't know what you want, you just come to me. I'll just take care of you. You know. So now, if after explaining all this, then what is the attitude with which I have to approach him? Now that I know that I have to approach him, tell me, what kind of an attitude, and what can I really offer him? Okay, so we have really some of the most famous shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, which is coming up in this section. And in this particular shloka number 26, it's like whenever we love somebody, right? Uh, Whenever we go to somebody's house, or when I really, really love somebody, I want to give them something out of my heart. You know, I know now it is not Christmas time, but during Christmas time, especially, I think we make sure that, there's a gift for everybody in the family or something like that, right? But Krishna, what do I give Krishna, who is, when I pray to him, he is just giving me anything and everything? What do I give him? That is the whole idea which this beautiful shloka is about. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Tadaham bhaktyupapratam. Tadaham bhaktyupapratam. Ashnami prayatatmanaha. Ashnami prayatatmanaha. So, patram pushpam phalam toyam. So difficult to find in these days, right? Patram pushpam, just a leaf, just a flower, any flower. It doesn't even have to be one of those most beautiful rose, or what is that, jasmine or whatever. It can be even a yellow flower, which is like a weed, which grows so much. Phalam, a fruit, toem, water. When offered to me with devotion, that is the whole point here. So it is not about what I'm offering, but it is with what attitude I'm offering. And that is when I'm offering with a complete devotion. Tat aham bhakti upahritam. Because of the bhakti, because of the devotion, that aham, that aham ashnami prayatatmana, I accept wholeheartedly. Ashnami prayatatmana, because you have given me with complete devotion, with complete, with absolutely a pure heart. So I will accept that whole thing, whatever you're trying to give me. So literally, we may think, we are impressing the Lord by giving him something, a gold watch, or, I don't know, interestingly, I think it was in WhatsApp note, one thing which I was just reading about how 20 years ago or something, 1 kg of gold, you can actually get a Maruti car or something. And now with 1 kg of gold, what is that? You can buy a plane or something. They were just joking about it, how we tend to give so much of importance to gold and everything. And so many, we want to offer gold to God and everything. But ultimately, he says, pure minded, just offer your ego, completely offer surrender your ego to me. And all these things, patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, they're all nothing but they are just a sign of my devotion, you know. If even if none of these are all available, so even if you're not able to find, I mean, it's fall time, all the leaves are gone, there are no fruits. Guess what? You can just offer 2 drops of water to me. That also is more than enough, and I will take it, and I'm very happy with what you did, what you have offered to me. So, such a beautiful thing here. Again, the point about it is not about the actual offering or whatever I'm giving, but it's the attitude in which I'm giving. So, it's really it's the idea of where I'm building a strong relationship with that Lord itself. And to build that strong relationship, it requires an action, but more importantly is the attitude, Like, for example, Swami Chidananda gives this example of a couple who's going to get married, What happens in the beginning, uh, the 2 people get married, and then there are so many festivals and everything that is built because it builds this attitude of buying a gift and giving. But along with that attitude of giving the gift comes the attitude of loving the person. You build that love, and it is with that this attitude of gift is given. It's not that, oh, I have to buy a gift and take it to my wife or anything, but it is about, giving that with all the love which is needed. And so just even giving a very, very simple gift, but with that gift, when the act of love is there, it goes an extremely long way. And so that is the whole idea of here. And Swami Chinmayananda gives this beautiful example of, how this Indian and American, when they're having the food together, this Indian guy, who's used to eating with his hands, when he sees the American taking the spoon, and he thinks that, the spoon is going to help him take the food inside, and he gets the spoon, but it's not ultimately the spoon which is taking the food inside, it's really how he is chewing the food, right? So too, all these gifts that, whether it's this patram, pushpam, panam, toyam, all the gift or anything that we offer is like that spoon, it's only a conveyor of, it's a conveyor to convey my devotion, my bhakti towards that Lord, So in that sense, that gift serves that purpose. But ultimately, it's that bhavam which is there behind that gift, which is more important. So in this next shloka, he says, it's not just about what you offer, but what you do, So he says, Yat karoshi yadashnasi, Yat karoshi yadashnasi, Yajjuhoshi dadasi yat, Yajjuhoshi dadasi yat, Yat pashyasi kaun, Yat Yat tat, yat tat, what is it? Yat pashyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Tat kurushva madarpanam. So he says, whatever you do, yat karoshi, whatever you do, and whatever you eat, yadashnasi, whatever you eat, yad juhoshi, whatever you offer in sacrifice or give to me, give in charity, and yet tapasyasi, whatever you practice as your tapas, just do it as an offering to me. Again, just so beautiful, because really, this helps a lot for all of us. And especially, I look at it even with what I'm doing, anything and everything without taking any ownership for it, and just doing it as an offering, you know. That is a way to bring that aspect of worship in our daily life. I may not be sitting in front of the Lord, or I may not be doing my pujas or anything, but in whatever I'm doing, let me just bring that attitude of divinizing my action, So by doing this, my whole notion of my doership, that I'm doing it, and the second thing is I'm enjoying it, which are really the two major obstacles for liberation. Those things gets, progressively diluted. And instead of saying that, I did it, let me enjoy this. I did this, and therefore let me enjoy the fruit of this. In everything, if I just keep on saying that, no, it is Krishna through me is doing it. I'm only a nimitta karanam, and let Krishna get the results. So pretty soon, our own stress levels, our own worries, everything will really come down. And in some sense, this really is karma yoga in complete action, right? So, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, that shloka, this ties in so beautifully with that yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yat juhoshi, yat tapasyasi. Everything, is nothing but Krishna. It is only for you. And which then brings the last shloka in this series about how to worship, So Krishna says, we shall be completely free from our results of action. Our actions, essentially gives us all these results in this form of whatever joy, whatever this I can get. Now, how can what is the final best thing that I can do? He says, Shubha Shubha Phalairevam, Shubha Shubha Phalairevam, Mokshase Karma Bandhanaihi, Mokshase Karma Bandhanaihi, Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma, Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma, Vimukto Mamupaishyasi, Vimukto Mamupaishyasi. So he says, from all the results, whatever Shubha and Ashubha, you shall be freed from complete bondage with your mind in Yoga Yukta, where your mind is completely in me, sannyasa, ready for renunciation, and you shall be liberated and you'll come to me. So there is a beautiful analogy, So there is this lady, she goes to the Ganges, and she meets all the Mahatmas there, and she takes all the fruits and gives it to the Mahatmas. And then she tells the Mahatma, even this, I'm giving you these fruits, but please take away even this act of my giving. Whatever I'm going to get the result out of giving these fruits, please take that result also away from me. So that is the ultimate sense of giving, So that is, and that way I'm completely freed from any bondage. So not only am I doing the charity for somebody, but take away even this aspect of the fact that I am doing this charity. Ultimate aspect of, so at that point, so that I'm totally freed from this bondage which is that I am doing it, and I need the results of it. So it is the ultimate, really the yoga of renunciation. And Krishna is saying, just take this part of it. So these three shlokas that we did today, they are really the highest form of how I can worship. I can worship by giving a gift, but even when I give a gift, what is the kind of attitude I have to have? The second shloka, which Yat Karoshi Yadashnasi, anything and everything I do, let it be completely Krishnarpanam. Krishnarpanam in the sense that it is only He who is acting through me. He is the one who's taking the results away from me. And then finally, the last one is even the act of getting the results of it, let me just give it back. So I don't keep anything with me, you know. So next week, we'll get into this the last section about, of course, what is the glory? In the last, what is the glory of the Lord's worship? And really about his equal treatment of all devotees. It doesn't matter how people come to him, how he accepts him, all that we will discuss. Okay. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just stop the live stream. There is 2 messages. Oh. Jayashri, you wanted to say something? I'll unmute 1 second. I will first